Stuart, it's Niobe.
Yes,
Can you talk about stress, anxiety, other than breathing in deep, and doing meditation? Anyways, just talk about that if you don't mind. Thank you.
I don't know what you want me to talk about to fix what's out there so that there's no stress. It's never going to happen. What you have to fix is inside yourself till you're strong enough to transform that stress into positive energy. I can't talk, look, what I do is teach this meditation for a reason, because it works. And if you're looking for other ways to do it, you better go find somebody else who can help you with that. But I don't know what to tell you. I do know that when you build a system inside yourself that's strong enough, when the chakra system is highly developed, you can transform your stress into joy, into love, into positive energy. And that's what I've been doing most of my life. It's what I learned from my teachers. One of the greatest things I learned from my teacher, how to take my stress, my pressure, all the crazy things that used to go on in my head and turn them into positive energy so that they become a way to get to God instead of a way of killing myself. Other than that, I don't know what to talk about. Look, nobody's going to fix this world. There's always stress, there's always problems, there's always people you have to deal with that are, not terribly savory people. The world is full of that. I can't fix that. But I can show people how to build an inner life that can deal with it. If they do it. If you don't do it, then there's nothing I can do. You understand? I can't help you if you don't really work at it. If you work at it, my God, the results are unbelievable if people really work at it. And by working on it, I mean, if you come to a class once every 2 weeks, that's not really a commitment to using this to grow inside yourself. You need to have, one has to go, I don't know. I really don't have an answer to this because the problems are so acute in this world. The tension is so powerful in this world that if you don't have a strong inner life, forget about it. You can analyze it to death. You can figure it out. You can spend all your time rationalizing it. You can listen to people's stuff and everybody has an opinion. If you don't do inner work, it's not gonna change. If you do inner work, suddenly the world transforms itself. It's a different place you're living in. Not because the world is any different, it's because you have changed inside. You have truly gotten the capacity, to transform your own insecurity, your own problems into positive energy. And, it's like the Buddha said, suffering is the fastest path to God. And he's right, it's the truth. It's a constant reminder that we got to do something about ourselves. We have to work on ourselves, because that is not going to go away by itself. You understand? And it's a human being's job in life to build an inner life that's strong enough to transform, what we have to live with every day into a possibility of getting one's spiritual enlightenment. And I really believe this in my heart that, God needs our help. He really does. We have to do the work. Otherwise, that energy of a higher nature, it just flows right past us. And it'll find a home in people that aren't doing the work to change inside, to fix themselves, and have made that kind of commitment in their life. And as I say, attending a meditation class every couple of weeks is not going to do it for anybody. You know, I mean, whatever you do, whether it's what I teach or somebody, you have to really do it. And you can't take it for granted and you can't assume anything. It has to be worked at. It has to be developed. And the greatest thing you discover is that in this world, the only person we're all up against is ourselves. It's the only person in life we're up against is ourselves. That's where the only competition is. You know, can we commit? Can we do the inner work? Can we overcome this part of us that keeps saying, I can't do it? And whether I teach it or somebody else teaches something else, you understand, to sit and listen to lectures and then go home and go right back into the patterns that you live with doesn't work. Something has to really make the effort to change inside. Whatever you do, I mean, certainly what I teach is not the only thing in the world, thank God. If it was, there'd be more than 15 people here, you know? But I do know, and I've seen it, the miracle of what takes place if people really commit to it. I've had people come here from different parts of America who have committed to it. And my God, you know, some of them I've known for a really long time. And the changes that have taken place in them is astonishing to me, astonishing. It's the same changes that can take place in any human being if they do the work, if they work on themselves. And they don't live with some kind of delusional idea that someday it's going to be better, it's just going to change by itself. Because it's not. In fact, I would almost say the world is 5 times crazier today than when I was a kid, you know? Yeah, we had Vietnam, we had all kinds of problems, but I've never seen anything like what's going on in life today. That's not going to change. We have to change. And you don't change by putting it off to some distant time in the future. You change by doing the work now. It's like Ram Dass said, be here now. Don't be here, you know, next Tuesday. Do your inner work now. Commit now. And what does it take? Sitting down and doing a meditation for 40 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day? I mean, it's not like one has to go into a monastery and become a slave to a religion. You do what you have to do. Sit down and do your inner work, but really do it. And the transformations will take place. And I really mean this. I've seen it. I know my own life, what I have been through in my life and where I came from as a kid to what I'm doing today has got to be one of the great miracles in the world. It's not, I wasn't born from a lotus flower somewhere in the Himalaya mountains, you know, to grow up to be a Rinpoche and some bodhisattva, you know. I was born in the South Bronx, in tenements and slums. You know, years of work transformed this person that I once was into what I do today. And one of the reasons why it works for me and other people that it works for is they don't put it off. It's not something that I'm going to do in 2 months, or, you know, I can do it and, oh, well, there'll be another class next week and I can always go. And right now I can, you know, do this and that and the other. You know, it's a silly approach to doing anything to build yourself inside. Spiritual life should be a priority because it makes everything else in life possible in a very profound and delicious way. And I say, whether it's what I teach or somebody else teaches, I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm grateful to see anybody grow no matter what they do. Does anyone else have a question you'd like to ask?
Stuart.
Yes.
My question is, you're talking about building the inner muscles. And I thought about this all the time. This is a metaphor, but I'm not sure anymore. And so I wanted to ask.
If raising your inner master is a metaphor?
Yeah, or is it really muscles that you build?
Yes.
Because I feel something.
Inside you is nobility of soul. Inside you is a connection with God, spirit, higher energy. Raising your consciousness, building your inner life is not a metaphor, it's a real experience of you transforming everything inside you that allows you to connect with spirit. So it's not a metaphor for something else, it's a living reality. It's a living, part of yourself that completely is reborn inside, that connects with what's infinite in the universe.
Okay.
So
I was asking about the muscles. Is it really muscles that hold something?
Excuse me?
I was asking if this is real muscles that hold, or this is a metaphor.
No, it's not a metaphor. I don't teach a metaphor. I teach a way to truly experience, your spiritual life, building you inside. I mean, these classes are really strong because the energy we need to transform ourselves has to be strong energy to change us inside. So that it's not a metaphor, it's truly a living experience. One can talk in metaphors and examples of what can take place, but the actual experience is something that exists in the moment, in the now, that takes place inside a human being. And that transforms somebody's life. It changes their life. And I think that to me is a wonderful way of living in this world, that it's not just metaphor, it's not just paradox, it's not just, intellectual examples of what's possible. It's living reality. I mean, the greatest teachers always talked about living reality. They might have used metaphors, but they would use them in order to give people a deeper understanding of what really takes place inside a human being, the changes, the growth, connection with spirit, the connection with God. We are all children of God. And what keeps us from living that way is just that lack of development inside ourselves. That doesn't allow that energy to truly guide our life. So that it's more than metaphor, it's living experience. Which is pretty okay, to be able to live here as a child of God without being stuck in all the religious dogma and all the, in all the metaphors, without being stuck in all of that. But to truly live in the now, in the present, to be one with God. First thing is that we have to accept in ourselves that this is even possible. We really do. We have to get beyond that part of us that, well, that happened thousands of years ago and it's not going to happen today. And how can I do that? And to that part of us that says, I really am hungry to have a spiritual life. I can live that way in this modern world. And it doesn't mean you leave your family and jobs and all. It just means that your consciousness elevates so that you can include all of it as your teacher, as a living reality. I mean, that to me is an amazing way to live. And there's no dogma. The only thing I loved about studying with my teacher, there was no dogma. There was no right way to do it. You did it and everybody learned according to who they were as a human being, their own unique way. And then it allows you to accept people no matter what their background is. Whatever their background is part of what makes them what they are today. Does anyone else have a question?
I would like to ask, why do you think that anyone can really learn it?
Nothing wrong. There's a dog barking there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it is not my dog. Why do you think that anyone can learn it? Anyone?
I'll tell you truthfully, anyone can learn it because everyone has the tools to learn it. Very few people do learn it, because very few people apply those tools to learning how to connect with what's infinite in the universe. I say anyone can learn it because we all have minds, we all have breath, we all have chakras, we all have, needs and will, and it depends on how we use these things. Most people don't use these things to develop a spiritual life. And that really is the problem. And as I say, anyone can learn it if they're willing to use the tools they're born with. How many people do? Very, very few. I mean, in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a thing, many are called and few are chosen. And this is really true. Everybody's born with all the tools they need to have a connection with God. How many people do it in a lifetime? Very few. And that to me is one of the great tragedies of the world. I mean, if people would have the same need to have a spiritual life as they do to make money, we'd have a pretty enlightened planet here. Or power, or whatever, all the things that radiate around those struggles in people's lives. It's an amazing place if people would apply that same need to make money to having a spiritual life. And frankly, it would never deny them money. They would make money. They would have families. They would have all the wonderful treasures that life has to offer. But with it, they would have a spiritual life. Because we all have the tools. Do we use them? No. We don't use them. We use them to fight with other people, to know better than other people, to, as I say, to create gods out of money and power and, stuff like that, sex.
It's 2 o'clock.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart,
Yes.
you're saying many times about sex. We don't have to have sex, but we can use that energy.
Oh, no, I'm not saying we don't have to have sex. Every one of us has sex. You know, there is no spiritual development without people having sex.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, you know, it's a very powerful energy, sex. It can be used for the procreation in life. It also can be used for procreation inside ourselves. We just have to learn to use that consciously, you know? Nothing wrong. Every person who's in this meditation is a product of a sexual act. It's the way
how to use it, sexual energy.
Well, you know, there's a very simple way in what I teach. That energy, you draw that energy to the base of the spine, and that energy will activate the Kundalini. As I tell people, and I've said it 1,000 times already, the sexual area is the area where the male-female principle comes together. The yin and the yang, the Shiva, Shakti, that marriage of energy gives birth to Kundalini. So when you draw energy through the sex, you understand, you bring together, you create a union of the male-female energy inside, which will give birth to the Kundalini. Now, this is a very powerful thing, so one has to be grounded in order to do this successfully.
Mm. Then if we don't have sex, then we are...
Wait a minute, you can do this in making love with somebody if you have that kind of development. The act of love is really a spiritual thing. And when you have that inner development, the act of making love to somebody can bring together the male, even, I'm not even talking about, I'm talking about male, female, it's not gay or straight or this or that. It's that sexual energy is really strong. And that activation of the sexual energy, if used consciously, can become one of the deepest forms of meditation. Two people really love each other. The act of making love can be an act of communing with God. If they know how to use the energy properly in themselves.
If they love each other, isn't it?
They love each other, not just being promiscuous. That doesn't work. That's conquering the other. That's nonsense.
And when we don't have a sex,
then
don't have partner, many years.
You can do it in meditation. You can channel it through meditation the same way. You draw the energy to the base of the spine as it moves through the sexual area, and that will activate the Kundalini.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it all works. That's why, I have a partner. I don't listen to that stuff. If you want to grow, you can channel that energy with a partner, with not a partner. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's it's an incredible thing, but it really works. And I've always believed, and I've had experiences with partners where the act of making love taught me everything I had to know about Tantra. It really did.
Tantra.
Tantra is a form of yoga, and it taught me everything I needed to know about that. The act At the same time, meditation taught me everything I needed to know about Tantra as well. And the transformation of the human to the spiritual, which takes place in the sexual area. This is pretty highly evolved teaching here, This is something that, I mean, it's really on another level, this teaching. But it's an important thing to learn, and it's not a metaphor, it's something you evolve into by the development of a really strong inner life. It becomes an organic outgrowth of you building a chakra system that allows these things to happen to you. It's not somebody you can go to a bar and pick up and you're going to have tantric experiences, you know?
I know.
It's something that evolves and grows in you. And one day these things start manifesting. These experiences, this other level of knowledge begins to manifest inside you. I mean, it's a shame there aren't 1,000 people here listening to this. You know? It really is a shame. It's so important, all this stuff. You know, you can only teach it to people that are ready to listen and learn it. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Flora, you've grown. Look, I've known you for a very short time, and you have grown enormously in that time. And don't ever be down on yourself, okay? You have come a really long way. So
Really?
don't be down on yourself, and don't, you know, just continue to work on yourself. It's working. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay. I mean, the questions are good. You know, look what comes up. It's amazing what comes up. Anyway, I just have one, and I think I've mentioned it. On Monday, I'm going to go away for 10 days. I'm going to go to Mexico, and partial vacation and partial stuff I have to do there. And, but there will be meditation. I was told that the Wi-Fi in the place we're staying is very powerful. You know, so there will be meditation. I will manifest an hour earlier because where I'm going to be, it's an hour earlier, you know, than, you know, here it's, you know, it's 1 o'clock. And when I'm in Mexico, it'll be 12 o'clock, but it'll be the exact same time wherever you are. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. And again, there will be a class on Sunday. And God bless you all. You know, I mean, I really, you know, I said yesterday, you know, that I find everybody here is sacred. Everybody here is is a child of God. And I think it's a great honor for me to sit here and share my life with all of you. And I can't tell you the gratitude I have in my heart to be allowed to do this and to be allowed to truly, you know, see people here that everybody's sacred. Everybody is a treasure. So treat yourself that way. You are a treasure, you know, and find that in yourself and try to live with that. I find that in all of you, or I wouldn't be here, you know? So God bless you all humility and gratitude. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. Bless you.
God bless it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.